Welcome to the 1000 Nights and 1 Night. Now, when it was the 774th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Daulat related to Badi'a Al-Jamal the first part of Sayf Al-Muluk's history, how his love for her was caused by the tunic whereon her presentment was wrought, how he went forth passion distraught in quest of her, how he forsook his people and his kingdom for her sake, and how he had suffered all these terrors and hardships on her account. When Badi'a Al-Jamal heard this, she blushed rosy red, and was confounded at Daulat, and said, Verily this may never be, for man accordeth not the Jan. Then Daulat went on to praise Sayf Al-Muluk, and extolled his comeliness, and courage, and calphorus, and ceased not repeating her memories of his prowess, and his excellent qualities, till she ended with saying, For the sake of Almighty Allah, and of me, O sister mine, come and speak with him, though but one word. But Badi'a Al-Jamal cried, By Allah, O sister mine, this thou sayest I will not hear, neither will I send to thee therein. And it was as if she heard naught of what the other said, and as if no love of Sayf Al-Muluk and his beauty and bearing and bravery had gotten hold upon her heart. Then Daulat humbled herself and said, O Badi'a Al-Jamal, by the milk we have sucked, I and thou, and by that which is graven on the seal ring of Solomon, on whom be peace, hearken to these my words, for I pledge myself in the high-builded castle of Japhet to show him thy face. So Allah upon thee, show it to him once for the love of me, and look thyself on him. And she ceased not to weep and implore her, and kiss her hands and feet, till she consented and said, For thy sake I will show him my face once, and he shall have a single glance. With that, Daulat heart was gladdened, and she kissed her hands and feet. Then she went forth and fared to the great pavilion in the garden, and bade her slave women spread it with carpets, and set up a couch of gold, and placed the wine vessels in order, after which she went in to Sayf Al-Muluk, and to his vizier Said, whom she found seated in their lodging, and gave the prince the glad tidings of the winning of his wish, saying, Go to the pavilion in the garden, thou and thy brother, and hide yourselves there from the eyes of men, so none in the palace may espy you, till I come to you with Badi'a Al-Jamal. So they rose and repaired to the appointed pavilion, where they found the couch of gold set, and furnished with cushions, and meat and wine ready served. So they sat a while Sayf Al-Muluk bethought him of his beloved, and his breast was straitened, and love and longing assailed him. Wherefore he rose and walked forth from the vestibule to the pavilion. Said would have followed him, but he said to him, O my brother, follow me not, but sit in thy stead till I return to thee. So Said abode seated, while Sayf Al-Muluk went down into the garden, drunken with the wine of desire, and distracted for excess of love-longing, and passion-fire. Yearning agitated him, and transport overcame him, and he recited these couplets. O passing fair, I have none else but thee. Pity this slave and thy love's slavery. Thou art my search, my joy, and my desire. None save thyself shall love this heart of me. Would heaven I knew thou knewest of my wails, night long and eyelids oped by memory. Bid sleep to sojourn on these iron lids. Happily in vision I thy sight shall see. Show favor then to one that thus love distraught. Save him from ruin by thy cruelty. Allah increase thy beauty and thy weal, and by thy ransom every enemy. So shall on doomsday lovers range beneath thy flag, and beauties beneath thy banner be. Then he wept, and recited these also. That rarest beauty ever bids my foe, who holds my heart and lurks in secrecy, speaking, I speak of nothing save her charms, and when I'm done in heart core wanteth she. Then he wept sore and recited the following. And in my liver higher flames the fire. You are my wish, and longsome still I yearn. To you, none other, bend I and hope. Lovers, long-suffering are your grace to earn, and that you pity me, whose frame by love is waste and weak, his heart with sore concern. Relent. Be generous, tender-hearted, kind. From you I'll ne'er remove, from you ne'er turn. Then he wept, and recited these also. Came to me care when came the love of thee. Cruel sleep fled me like thy cruelty. Tell me the messenger that thou art wroth. Allah forfend what evils told me he. Presently Said waxed weary of awaiting him, and going forth in the quest of him, found him walking in the garden, distraught, and reciting these two couplets. By Allah, be the Almighty by his might, who read the Koran chapter Fatir height. Ne'er roam my glances o'er the charms I see, thy grace, rare beauty, is my talk by night. So he joined him, and the twain walked about the garden together, solacing themselves, and ate of its fruits. Such was their case. But as regards the two princesses, they came to the pavilion, and entertaining therein after the eunuchs had richly furnished it, according to command, sat down on the couch of gold, beside which was a window that gave upon the garden. The castratos then set before them all manner of rich meats, and they ate, Daulat Khaton feeding her foster sister by mouthfuls, till she was satisfied. Then she called for the divers kinds of sweetmeats, and when the neutrals brought them, they ate what they would of them, and washed their hands. After this, Daulat Khaton made ready wine in its service, setting on the ewers and bowls, and she proceeded to crown the cups, and gave Badi'a Al-Jamal to drink, filling for herself after the drinking in turn. Then Badi'a Al-Jamal looked from the window into the garden, and gazed upon the fruits and branches that were therein, till she glance fell on Sayf Al-Muluk, and she saw him wandering about the parterres, followed by Said, and she heard him reciting verses, raining the while railing tears, and that glance of eyes cost her 1,000 sighs. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. Now, when it was the 775th night, she continued, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that when Badi'a Al-Jamal caught sight of Sayf Al-Muluk as he wandered about the garden, that glance of eyes cost her 1,000 sighs, and she turned to Daulat Khaton and said to her, and indeed the wight sported with her senses, O my sister, who is that young man I see in the garden, distraught, love-abbying, disappointed, sighing? Quoth the other, Dost thou give me leave to bring him hither, that we may look upon him? And quoth the other, An thou can avail to bring him, bring him. So Daulat Khaton called to him, saying, O king's son, come up to us, and bring us thy beauty and thy loveliness. Sayf Al-Muluk recognized her voice, and came up into the pavilion. But no sooner had he set eyes on Badi'a Al-Jamal than he fell down in a swoon, whereupon Daulat Khaton sprinkled on him a little rose water, and he revived. Then he rose and kissed the ground before Badi'a Al-Jamal, who was amazed at his beauty and loveliness. And Daulat Khaton said to her, Know, O princess, that this is Sayf Al-Muluk, whose hand saved me by the ordinance of Allah Almighty, and he it is who hath borne all manners burdens on thine account. Wherefore I would have thee look upon him with favour. Hearing this, Badi'a Al-Jamal laughed and said, And who keepeth faith that this youth should do so? For there is no true love in men. Cried Sayf Al-Muluk, O princess, never shall lack of faith be in me, and all men are not created alike. And he wept before her, and recited these verses. O thou, Badi'a Al-Jamal, show thou some clemency to one those lovely eyes oppressed with witchery. By rights of beauteous hues and tints thy cheeks combine, of snowy white and glowing red anemone. Punish not with disdain one who is sorely sick, by long, long parting waste hath waxed this frame of me. This is my wish, my will, the end of my desire, and union is my hope, and haply this may be. Then he wept with violent weeping, and love and longing got the mastery over him, and he greeted her with these couplets. Peace be to you from lovers' wasted love, all noble hearts to noble favour show. Peace be to you, ne'er failure form my dreams, nor hall nor chamber this fair sight forego. Of you I'm jealous, none may name your name. Lovers to lovers I should bend thee low. So cut not off your grace from him who loves, while sickness wastes and sorrows overthrow. I watch the flowery stars which frighten me, while cark and care mine every night forslow. Nor patience bide with me, nor plans appear. What shall I say when questions of my foe? God's peace be with you in the hour of need, peace sent by lover patient, bearing woe. Then for the excess of his desire and ecstasy, he repeated those couplets also. I to aught save you, O lords of me incline, ne'er may I win of you my wish, my sole design. Who doth comprise all loveliness, save only you? Who makes the doomsday dawn, e'en ne'er before these eyne? Far be it, love, find any rest, for I am one who's lost of love of you this heart, these vitals mine. When he had made an end of his verses, he wept with sore weeping, and she said to him, O prince, I fear to grant myself wholly to thee, lest I find in thee not fondness nor affection. For oftentimes men's fidelity is small, and his perfidy is great, and thou knowest how the Lord Solomon, son of David, on whom be peace, took Bilkis to his love, but when as he saw another fairer than she, turned from her thereto. Sayf Al-Muluk replied, O my eye and my soul, Allah hath not made all men alike, and I, inshallah, will keep my troth and die beneath thy feet. Soon shalt thee see what I will do in accordance with my words, and for whatso I shall, Allah is my warrant. Quoth Badi'a Al-Jamal, Sit and be of good heart, and swear to me by the right of thy faith, and let us covenant together that each will not be false to the other. Whichever of us breaketh faith, may Allah punish. At these words he sat down and set his hand in her hand, and they swear each to the other that neither of them would ever prefer to the other anyone, either of man or of the Jann. Then they embraced for a whole hour and wept for excess of their joy, whilst passion overcame Sayf Al-Muluk, and he recited these couplets. I weep for longing's love own ardency, to her who claims the heart and soul of me. And soars my sorrow, parted long from you, and shorts my arm to reach the prize I see. And mourning grief for what my patience marred, to blamer's eye unveiled my secrecy, and waxed straight that whilom was so wide, patience nor force remains, nor power to dree. Would heaven I knew if God will ever deign to join our lives from our cark and care and grief set free. After this mutual troth-plighting, Sayf Al-Muluk arose and walked in the garden, and Badi'a Al-Jamal arose also and went forth also afoot, followed by a slave girl bearing somewhat of food and flask of wine. The princess sat down, and the damsel set the meat and wine before her, nor remained they long ere they were joined by Sayf Al-Muluk, who was received with greeting, and the two embraced and sat down. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. Now, when it was the 776th night, she pursued, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that having provided food and wine, Badi'a Al-Jamal met Sayf Al-Muluk with greetings, and the twain having embraced and kissed sat them down a while to eat and drink. Then said she to him, O king's son, thou must now go to the garden of Iram, where dwelleth my grandmother, and seek her consent to our wedding. My slave girl, Marjana, will convey thee thither, and as thou farest therein, thou wilt see a great pavilion of red silk, lined with green silk. Enter the pavilion, heartening thyself, and thou wilt see inside it an ancient dame, sitting on a couch of red gold, set with pearls and jewels. Salute her with respect and courtesy. Then look at the foot of the couch, where thou wilt descry a pair of sandals of cloth, interwoven with bars of gold embroidered with jewels. Take them, and kiss them, and lay them on thy head. Then put them under thy right armpit, and stand before the old woman in silence, and with thy head bowed down. If she ask thee, Who art thou, and how camest thou hither, and who led thee to this land? And why hast thou taken up the sandals? Make her no answer, but abide silent till Marjana enter, when she will speak with her, and seek to win her approof for thee, and cause her look on thee with consent. So happily Almighty Allah may incline her heart to thee, and she may grant thee thy wish. Then she called the handmaid Marjana hight, and said to her, As thou lovest me, Do my errand this day, and be not neglectful therein. And thou accomplish it, thou shalt be a free woman for the sake of Allah Almighty. And I will deal honorably by thee with gifts, and there shall be none dearer to me than thou, nor will I discover my secrets to any save thee. So by my love for thee, fulfill this my need, and be not slothful therein. Replied Marjana, O my lady and light of mine eyes, tell me what it is thou request of me, that I may accomplish it with both mine eyes. Badi'a rejoined, Take this mortal on thy shoulders, and bear him to the bloom garden of Iram, and the pavilion of my grandmother, my father's mother, and be careful of his safety. When thou hast brought him into her presence, and seest him take the slippers, and do them homage, and hearest her ask him anything, Whence art thou, and by what road art come, and who led thee to this land, and why hast thou taken up the sandals, and what is thy need, that I give heed to it? Do thou come forward in haste, and salute her with a salam, and say to her, O my lady, I am she who brought him hither, and he is the king's son of Egypt. 'Tis he who went to the high-builded castle, and slew the son of the Blue King, and delivered the princess Daulat from the castle of Japhet, son of Noah, and brought her back safely to her father. And I have brought him to thee, that he may give thee the glad tidings of her safety. So deign thou be gracious to him. Then do thou say to her, Allah upon thee, is not this young man handsome, O my lady? She will reply yes, and do rejoin, O my lady, indeed he is complete in honor and manhood and valor, and he is Lord and King of Egypt, and compriseth all praiseworthy qualities. And she asked thee, What is his need? Do thou make answer, My lady saluteth thee, and saith to thee, How long shall she sit at home a maid and unmarried? Indeed, the time is longsome upon her, for she is as a magazine wherein wheat is heaped up. When then is thine intent in leaving her without a mate? And why dost thou not marry her in thy lifetime, and that of her mother, like other girls? If she say, How shall we do to marry her? And she have any one in mind, let her tell me of him, and we will do her will as far as may be. Do thou make answer, O my lady. Thy daughter saith to thee, Ye were minded aforetime to marry me to Solomon, on whom be peace, and portrayed him my portrait on a tunic. But he had no lot in me, so he sent the tunic to the king of Egypt, and he gave it to his son, who saw my portrait figured thereon, and fell in love with me. Wherefore he left his father and mother's realm, turning away from the world and whatso in therein, went forth at a venture, a wanderer, love-distraught, and hath borne the utmost hardships and honors for my sake of me. Now thou seest his beauty and loveliness, and thy daughter's heart is enamored of him. So if you have a mind to marry her to this young man, and forbid her not from him, for he is young and passing comely, and king of Egypt, nor wilt thou find a goodlier than he. And if you will not give her to him, she will slay herself, and marry none other, neither man nor jinn. And continued Badi'a Al-Jamal, Look thou, our Marjana, me, how thou mayest do with my grandmother to win her consent, and beguile her with soft words, so haply she may do my desire. Quoth the damsel, O my lady, upon my head and eyes will I serve thee, and do what shall content thee. Then she took Sayf Al-Muluk on her shoulders, and said to him, O king's son, shut thine eyes. He did so, and she flew up with him into the welkin, and after a while she said to him, O king's son, open thine eyes. He opened them, and found themselves in a garden, which was none other than the garden of Iram. And she showed him the pavilion, and said, O Sayf Al-Muluk, enter therein. Thereupon he pronounced the name of Allah Almighty, and entering cast a look upon the garden, when he saw the old queen sitting on the couch, attended by her waiting women. So he drew near her with courtesy and reverence, and taking the sandals, bussed them, and did as Badi'a Al-Jamal had enjoined him. Quoth the ancient dame, Who art thou, and what is thy country? Whence comest thou, and who brought thee hither, and what may be thy wish? Wherefore dost thou take the sandals, and kiss them, and when didst thou ask of me a favour which I did not grant? With this in came Marjana, and saluting her reverently and worshipfully, repeated to her Badi'a Al-Jamal had told her, which when the old queen heard, she cried out at her, and was wroth with her, and said, "How shall there be an accord between man and jinn?" And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased saying her permitted say. And so do I cease my telling of this tale for today, until it be morrow.